something like this?
Yeah, first time, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's
I
okay.
don't hope that doesn't mess up your makeup too much.
That's okay.
Cool. All right, so Melody's got some knee stuff. You want to tell us a little more about that?
No, it's just like I've always had a problem with like my right knee.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's always like and sometimes after I work, like, cause I work like I used to work like 10-hour shifts, so then like it was always just this knee that like it would hurt so much like at the end of the day. And like I've just always had a problem.
Just kind of stiff.
Yeah, and like it's always like making like that quick popping sound like every time like I move it. It's like it's annoying.
Do you have full range of motion? Can you bring it to your butt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah.
See, so it's active. That's impressive. Okay, cool. So we're gonna take a look at a few things. We'll look at the knee locally, but we're also gonna check out what's going on with the ankle muscles and some of the hip muscles, because pain isn't always where the hurt is. You're gonna hear me say that a lot. You're gonna hear me say, "Oh yeah, we're gonna work on the shoulder." Okay, great. Yes, we're gonna work on the shoulder, but we're gonna look at the forearm. You know, you're gonna see a lot of that during the semester. Just like I hated in PT. Right. Right. It's like too just overly specific. You gotta think a little more globally. The body is a full unit, and we gotta treat it as a full unit to get maximum results. Okay, great. You already gave consent. Love that. All right. So immediately upon touching on Melody's thigh, I can feel a lot of tension in the hamstring. So that tells me there's probably some fun stuff going on there. And you please let me know if my pressure is like too much. But it's very sensitive here, huh? Because I'm actually not pushing very hard. I'll be it's only on 1, 2, maybe 3, you know. But you can really feel that. So cool, all good. I'm gonna broaden my base of support just to make it a little easier to receive the touch. I'm feeling a little tightness in your hip when I go into full external rotation. You feel that? It's kind of coming from right around here, right? So a thing that I want you guys to really think about, and we're going to go over this again and again and again this semester, is like, I use a lot of range of motion as a point of assessment. So it's not just like, oh, I touch, yes, okay, the hamstring's tight, got that. But if I don't move the hip, I can't tell where else are problems arising from. So I notice there's a little bit of tightness coming from the hip, specifically, like we said, about kind of like glute medius area, maybe a little bit of TFL. And if we free that up, you'll find that there could be a lot of relief in the hamstring as well. So we're gonna think about the body as like fascial units, you know, and then how does one area affect the other area? Because just dealing with it directly, okay, fine, I'll work on the hamstring. You know, I feel a little better, but if I work from here through the hamstring, maybe even get a little bit of calf work, then maybe Melody feel a lot better. We want a lot. We want the most.
Right.
So that's the deal. So the first thing, okay, I just moved around a little bit, and it's already feeling like, oh, it likes the movement, and that's warmed up a bit, and that's already a little better. But is that okay? Yeah. Great. So I'm scooping under because I'm seeing some of that tension coming from the rectus femoris, right? So as you know, rectus femoris crosses which joints?
Hip and knee.
Yep, you can't answer.
No, I answered.
Okay, okay, I heard the voice. Sorry. Yes, hip and knee.
Yeah.
Very good. So I want to free that up so we get better hip movement. I'm using a vibration. I don't know if you can tell. I use it very subtly. You know, it's very tiring if you kind of like get herky jerky and it doesn't feel great to the client. You just want to do it very, subtly, just like that, and that'll get you really great results very quickly. I can at the same time, because there's a lot of sensitivity here, vibration is an analgesic technique. You guys know what I mean by that? Yeah, great. So, my first day, I don't know what you guys know. And I want to really reduce the level of sensitivity, right? Because we were in the circuit and vibration helps to kind of disrupt that and regulate the area so that I can maybe use a little bit of a deeper technique to further release the muscle. Okay, cool. That feels a little different here. Constantly checking in to see if the texture of the muscle changes. So now I'm going more into like, oops, a little too far back. TFL. Still sinking into the hamstrings here, right in between all three, because I'm high enough where I'm close enough to the attachment point.
What are you doing with the right hand?
My right hand is doing vibration on TFL. So, right, it's basically right here, right off of the axis, and then just sinking in and using vibration to get some release. So TFL is a hip flexor. It also does abduction and but which way?
Lateral.
External.
It's a meter rotator. So sartorius is an external rotator.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like one side or the other, and I can understand why it's easy to forget, but you should remember it.
Gotcha.
So we noticed that there was a restriction, right, in external rotation. So we want that medial rotator to be released so that we can get better external rotation, right? So here's where like learning the muscle actions is super critical for treatment purposes, right? Cool. So let's take a look. Is that a little smoother to you, Melody?
Yeah.
Right? So it's great because it's moving smoother here is a little bit of internal and external rotation that occurs at the knee. So that should reduce the level of symptoms that are felt here. Great. So that feels better here. And how's it to the touch?
It's better.
Right? It's a little easier
It's
to
not
deal
like
with?
so tense.
Yeah. Is that it?
It's not like so tense.
Right. So cool. But as I move it around, and I don't know if you can feel this on your end, but I'm feeling a lot of restriction below, like more on the leg. As opposed to the thigh. So like right around here. If I give you a little poke, you feel what I'm saying? So now we're taking a look at the lateral gastroc. Also, let's see, plantaris kind of does a little journey where it starts kind of medially and it comes out laterally at the attachment point and the popliteal space. So we're getting into a bit of that as well. Plantaris is a plantar flexor. I don't want to insult you guys with that question. But based on its fiber direction, I just figured it's important to just get a quick release to see if we can get a little more space in the joint. Let's see. So when I bring you into full flexion, you have great knee flexion, but when I come here, it starts to run into something. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel it like over here.
Okay, that's good to know. It's good to have that conversation, right? Because it's like, what do I feel? What do you feel? Like, get that from the conversation. I can feel a lot of what your body's, what's going on in your body, but not everything, because it's your body. It's not mine. But the better you are at feeling a fair amount of what's going on in your client's body, people love that. Cha-ching. It just shows that you're attentive, So that's important. So, good to know what's going on with your lower back. It just tells me that I need to see what's going on maybe by the sacrum, maybe by the QL, maybe check out your psoas, so your iliopsoas to be more precise. So we'll take a look at that in a second. We're just going over joints. So traction can be our friend. You just hang out here and wait for release. Is that okay on your ankle? Cool. It's good to check in. Sometimes you feel the client tense up for a second. So I'm like, okay, well, let me just check in, make sure we're good, or just adapting to a different kind of touch.
I felt something in my knee.
What did you feel in your knee?
Like a little, not like a pop, but like
Yeah.
kind of like a pop.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Traction can do that. Incidentally, you can potentially add a little speed to that. As I was really pleased to see later in the semester, one of the videos you watch, the guy does use a HVLA, high velocity long axis maneuver. His speed is a bit off, but it was cool to see that. I guess that's unacceptable in our profession practice, because I might do that every now and then just to get the results that I want to get from my client. Yeah. So right now, we created some space directly at the knee joint to create more motion, just like I did in the video. And right now, I'm on the greater trochanter, right? And so I'm not just pushing in on it. Actually, I'm setting a line that way, right? Because I want more space in the hip joint, so that all throughout, you're just gonna have better movement. How's your back doing with this, by the way?
Oh, it feels okay.
Okay, because you mentioned you were feeling some tension by the
Yeah.
sacrum.
Mm.
So, just curious to see where we're at with that. And I don't want to get this far. It feels like everything here kind of crunches up.
Mm-hmm.
So that tells me that we could either take a look at QL. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Or, in the interest of time, we can get into psoas as well. And we'll get more into like how to specifically locate it later in the semester. But basically, we're gonna locate the sides of the rectus abdominis and then just sink in between rectus and the obliques. One of the videos you watch, I disagree. the guy made this whole big deal about like having difficulty feeling through tissue, and I think that's crap. You know, a body is a body is a body. I don't care if someone's my size or your size. I don't care. I don't care. The muscles are in the same place. Just just let your fingers feel it out. They will find it. It's not harder. It's just not. That's something that's more like we're taught in society in our heads. So it's not harder. You can do it with anybody in here. We can get a dog and do the same damn thing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So I want you to really, keep that in mind. How's that pressure?
That's
Cool. I know I'm yapping along, so No, I just I don't know what that means that I'm something like I'm like quietly down to like 5, 6, 7, something like that. Cool. So I'm still using vibration. You can kind of see that here. Yes.
Sorry, question. How are you like staying relaxed while vibrating?
That's a great question, right? So the funny version of that is that I used to pretend that I was punching people really fast, like in an anime, when I was a kid. So I've been practicing vibration for well over 30 years. When I went to massage school, I was like, what? I was like, I was already better than the teacher teaching the technique. I was like, that's the funny part. The other part is, I think that the biggest thing to keep in mind is that people tend to really over try to do it.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, I'm gonna vibrate, right? And that's a jostle. So jostling is jostling, and vibration is vibration. Less is more. Less is more. So I can, and then I just kind of think about like, oh, I'm relaxing everything else but my hands, or I'm relaxing everything but my elbow, or everything but my knuckle, and I can do it with like my head or whatever, but that doesn't really help with massage, so whatever. So let's see, you're a little tight here. I think that's playing into the whole situation. So you can use compression. And just lean in, nice and slow, and see if we can get just a little more movement there. Okay, let's take a look. So I don't feel your body kind of straightening as much here.
Mm-hmm.
How's that on your back?
Yeah, it feels better than before.
Right. Your knee's still a little bit tight, and what I haven't done yet, but you notice how much movement we've gotten, and I have not really yet touched your quad. Right?
Yeah.
So now let's do that, because kind of exhausted all the outside issues. So this is how my demos are gonna kind of go. that's kind of the flavor. I just think that it's important to think about things a little more globally. And sorry, yeah, that's a fun spot, isn't it?
Yeah. I was like, oh.
Yeah. But if we went here first, it would help. It's not the whole solution. Right? The back's still shortening. All the compensatory movements that may have started here would still be a problem. And we got to deal with it all. Otherwise, it's not a complete idea of healing. Right? So, yeah. I kind of like work out, in. Yeah. So.
Are you keeping her from because for the sake of time, or that's just?
Oh no, I'm gonna flip her.
Oh, okay.
But in the case of, since the main issue is a knee flexion issue, this is the best position for that, right? To test knee flexion. Yes, can we test knee flexion while supine? Absolutely. If the knee's really bad, like for example, for like someone like me, my right knee, my left knee's great. Testing knee flexibility while I'm supine you know, I'm in a less stable position for that test. So, you know, initially, sorry. Okay. So it's nice to start here. Okay, let's take a look. That's a lot better. So, okay, controversial movement, right? You can stabilize the pelvis by using your leg, and I'll go over this later in the semester. We're gonna create a little traction here, and a little hip extension here. How you doing? Great. It's a big stretch. We probably have a small window of time where I can do moves like that sound like you. So I might try to get you on the table over the next few weeks because I know that window of time is going to get smaller.
I'm already at a point. It's a curvy.
Oh, okay, well, there you go. Too late.
Oh, sorry.
Too late. But you know the opportunity, I know. The opportunity is that we can do a lot of cool sideline work with you. That's great. It's very easy to kind of like forget that, you know, but you know.
Are you like cupping the knee with your like?
So let me go over that again. So with my hands here, I'm creating traction. You feel that, Melody? So there's traction, right? I'm using my arm hits to keep the leg stable because you know I'm out of hands because I only use 2 hands for this technique. And then I just come up to create hip extension. So now we're getting a crazy stretch in the rectus femoris. She may or may not feel iliopsoas stretching. And I use my thighs here because sometimes people get lower back issues, so I rotate it toward me to keep the lower back lined up properly.
Is that a Thai move?
It is not a Thai move, but you could totally use it in Thai massage or shiatsu. So I say that I'm a Western massage guy, but you know, this move's totally usable in a shiatsu session or Thai session. You know, why not?
Didn't seem like it was too rough on the body to do it either.
No.
You got your stretcher as well.
Yeah, that's true. It's a nice hamstring stretch. So I'm noticing, how you doing? Good. So I'm using the greater trochanter as a point, as a fulcrum. So I'm sending it outward and downward, right? Because if it's tight, it kind of pops the hip up. And I want to really create more space here in the lower back. I want to release the adductors because that can also play into tight knees. So it's a great opportunity to do that. And you can just lean and let gravity do its work. If you're more of the chiropractic side of things, you would, you know, add a little speed to that, but we won't do that because I'll get in trouble. So, what we'll do is assess right through movement, and I noticed that when the leg is out to the side, it's a little harder for you to rotate. So that tells me that there's some tightness in adductor. Any guess? Anybody? There's like 5 of them.
Just name an ad.
Magnus.
Yeah. Yes. Magnus, right? Well, right. But Magnus does internal and external rotation. So it's a good point. So you can go right into the middle of that, right here. Great job, Isabel. So you guys gotta answer more questions because then it makes it easier for me to remember your name. Thank you, Nation. Is that how it works? So,
And it's
if you're quiet and I keep botching your name, then you know why. All right. So sink in here. How you deal with that pressure? Because adductor magnus can be sensitive.
It is sensitive, yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna dial it back a bit. I'm gonna use more of a full hand technique instead of like hooking, right? So how's that?
That's better.
Okay, great. And by the way, anybody on the table, because I get it, there's like weird power dynamics, which I don't believe in, but I guess they still exist. So you know, please speak up. It's okay. Too hard. Chill out, James. I'd rather hear it than it's like spoken outside, and I'm like the last one to know. Like, how does that help you? How does that help you? How does that help you? I'm here to help you. Help me help you. That James guy. He's trying to like freaking dig for my soul.
That's what it feels like. But it's okay.
Okay. So you may notice that the hip's a lot closer to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, in the midst of the soul searching. And you may notice the movement's a lot smoother.
Yeah.
All right? So, That's also better.
Wow.
Sounds unique.
It feels good.
You don't have the words.
All right, slide down and turn over.
Quiet now. Right.
Hey guys. I can't see any of you, so.
Want the glasses?
Cool. All right. So let's see. So at this point now, your rotation is really nice. I love that. Checking for a point of trouble. I feel some stuff by your ankle.
Of course.
Yeah. So, and you know, here letting traction be our friend again. And just moving, just because movement creates movement. So I'm hooking around the calcaneus, right, around the heel, and I'm also getting right here in that instep. And I'm creating a little bit of a dorsiflexion. Oh, look at that. A little dorsiflexion just to, you know, really open up that ankle joint as much as possible. Great. So that's a little smoother. We love that. Just traction. Nothing. No digging. Even though if someone's ankle is particularly stubborn, you do want to get into that instep, get into those toe extensor / tibialis anterior tendons to, you know, open things up. Why is that important for the knee? Tibialis anterior facilitates rotation below the knee, so which is very important to maximize flexion and extension. So, you know, that's the thing.
Why?
Say again?
Why?
Why? Okay, so tibialis anterior. I know it's a dorsiflexor and a, you know, inverter, right? But basically, it's right in between the tibia and the fibula, right? So loosening that up will actually give more space for the knee to flex and extend in motion, because when you flex it, there's a little bit of whoops, make it backwards. Internal rotation, and when you extend, it's a little bit of external rotation. So anything that can get in the way of that, you want to free that up. Popliteus is, of course, your main jam, 100%. But tibialis anterior is also another good option for that. So here's popliteus. I'm just going to release that real quick because that's, once again, the key that unlocks the knee. Maybe you've heard that phrase? No? Okay,
I
well.
feel like at this point we've been told don't touch, like don't apply
Touch the
pressure
knee,
to the
yeah.
back.
Back of the knee's a no-no spot.
I
That's
just
like
think
the endangerment side. That's a like.
Okay,
like
here's the deal.
Western one that's like no.
Here's the deal. Because you guys are new,
Yeah.
sure.
Yo, the secrets. Let's go. Drop the gems, bro.
So, but in reality, how much pressure am I using right now?
Like none.
Yeah, don't go ham. And you already know I can use a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I'm super chill here. It doesn't take a lot. A little bit will do you. Literally, I don't know, anybody, you know, such a,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like that. It's like that, super chill. But because it's the popliteus, it feels like something.
Yeah.
You can tell I'm going light, but it also feels like, oh, you're
Yeah, I know
on
it's there,
something.
but
Yeah,
it's not like.
yeah. So, and I just kind of like, you know, work with that. I kind of wiggle it to kind of keep myself in contact. I add vibration again because vibration is your friend. Great. So, Byron, you're asking about checking the range of motion while supine. So this is how you would generally do it. This would not work in my right knee. I'd get up out of here and be like, oh, okay, let's stop it. But this is how you would test it out. And you have your hand here, or in my case, I would use something thicker, right, to create more, to gap the joint. And that would work really well. So this is gonna be way more information than any of you guys are gonna memorize, but we're gonna go over it in detail later on. I'm just giving you an idea. So more hip opening, right? So this is a move, it's called the Yanda maneuver. So typically it's done this way, where you come around and check a vector, and you find the point where it's like really tight, which is right about here for you. And then you drive down. So inferiorly, posteriorly, laterally, and then you add a little spin. But spin also while thinking about that vector. So
Spin is a little, yeah.
spinners talk
The
to me.
little,
Yeah.
when you did it like that.
That's a spin, yes. And you hang out and you wait. This is another maneuver where I tend to pin clients, right? So watch my pelvis, because this is important. As I go deeper into the stretch, my pelvis goes away from the client's pelvis, right? So people, when they first learn it, they tend to go more toward, just for demonstration purposes. But in reality, you send it away. When I say go away, what does it do? It creates more.
Bigger opening.
Right, right. So
you're twisting
just
it.
in case anybody's like, hey, you know, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Look, watch my butt. My butt goes away from her, from her. So that's really important to note. Great. So we're keeping this quick. Hamstrings a little tight. You do a little more work with your adductors. Your calves though, pretty good.
Yeah.
We beat that up earlier.
Feels better, yeah.
Yeah. So let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Thanks. So my hand's here on the opposite ISIS, and my other hand is on medial knee. But I'm also trying to get like a bit of thigh and calf, because I don't want to just put it all in the joint, right? So that's a thing. So this is like step one. So we're opening things up here. We're getting a nice gentle stretch of several adductors, not just Magnus, right? So you're gonna scoop under. And by the way, if anything, say, you know, if I ever do a technique that you're not cool with, just say, hey, can we not? You know, I'm like, okay, no problem, moving on. No problem. Anybody, please, it's on camera, good. So I'm scooping under, and I'm getting the greater trochanter, right? Because the idea is I want to create space in the hip joint while I'm stretching. So I'm using my torso now to further open. So there's a line going this way, and then I'm using my hand here to keep the pelvis from rotating and taking away the stretch.
So are you pushing the other hip, or are you just holding
I'm
it
just placing my hand here.
Just
I'm just
placing your hand
there's not a lot of pressure with this hand. Because
Okay.
actually, for some folk, a lot of pressure on the ISIS may not be entirely comfortable.
It's like almost like a pin and stretch.
And
that's what
your,
Yeah.
Like you're just trying to
left
keep.
hand is going like the direction. Your intention is towards the
I'm pulling actually, I'm pulling towards myself.
Are you just trying to keep the hip
So-
from coming off the table?
Yeah.
Kind of thing?
So it's like I'm trying to move the femoral head laterally. Because
fingertips.
fingertips are slightly hooked, right? That's how you're feeling it, I'm sure. Yeah. And then I'm creating stretching the adductors here and then balancing it out by using my hand and my body. So there's probably a slight downward pull happening as well. Now you got me thinking about it. So that's the deal. Okay, phase one. Phase two. Right? So still stabilizing the opposite side pelvis. You can hook here. And notice I'm using my forearm now to do the job that my hand was doing, and I'm pulling the hip away.
That's a stretch.
Yeah, fair enough. So now you're getting to like longus, maybe a little bit of brevis, certainly Magnus. Part three, I'm actually gonna hook a little bit with my thigh, and it's not a lot, it's very minimal, but it's all you need. So now I'm no longer grabbing trochanter, I'm just taking the whole femur, moving it aligned this way, and then kind of out, aligned that way. And then because I drop down a little bit into my stance, it also creates a line this way. Okay, you can do a little traction from this angle as well. There's lots of space in the hip joint. And it also gets into the ankle joint because if the hips and ankles are happy, the knee in between is very happy. So, let's see. Boop, boop, boop. Boop, boop, boop. And that's a lot more open.
Yeah.
And I didn't even really focus on the hamstring like that. Like a little bit in the very beginning. But
Feels good.
yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.